Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined today by Paul Zohoff. Excited to have him here to talk about the marriage and counseling that he does. He's from Tucson, Arizona. Has been helping couples with communication and marriage for many years. Also, he has his master's degree. He's going to tell us a little bit about his background and what he does to help others. And we want to welcome you. Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you too. Well, as you mentioned, I live here in Tucson, Arizona, and for the past many years, I've been training and coaching people to save their marriages. And it could be premarital, sometimes that's a lot of fun. It could be young couples with young children, and that's very stressful. There are empty nesters, people who have already graduated their children out into the world, and now they're looking to revision their marriage. And I also see couples who are in their 60s who have maybe had a past number of marriages. Perhaps they're widowed or widows, and they're looking for a marriage that will serve them, they can enjoy for the rest of their lives together. So I basically see people from the ages of 17 to 87 years old.
Wow.
And it's all more or less the same thing, because the truth of the matter is that we don't learn to communicate in school. They teach us to know, they don't teach us how to be. And so I've been looking, since I started out as domestic violence counselor some 30 years ago, I've been looking to prevent it rather than treat it. And I've developed a very simple set of tools, insights, and best practices that over the course of maybe 5 sessions, about 90 minutes each, they have what they need to see them through to their 50th wedding anniversary.
Oh, that is beautiful. And we're excited to have you here and want others to visit your website. It's marriageandcommunication.com. Is there a phone number or any social media page you want to add before we continue?
I recommend people go to the website, marriageandcommunication.com. There's a contact sheet. If they want to call me, they certainly are welcome to do so at 520-297-3085. And I've learned over time that anytime you call, I will answer.
Beautiful. Well, you say master the tools to enjoy extraordinary lives together, and that's what you're doing. You're giving them these insight, these tools, and I feel that the new year upon us, what better time to start than now? There's so many of us that want to make changes in our life, and we never do. So I'm looking forward to this conversation because I think we all could use some practice with communication, understanding others, listening to others, and especially when it comes to relationships. I want to ask, you do also work with pre-marital couples, right? Before they get married. Do you advise that for most people?
That's the most fun because they get the tools they need before they get married. So that's kind of a joy, special joy to help a couple as they are approaching their marriage. And I certainly have a lot of success teaching pretty much any couples as they experience their marriage. It's peculiar, as I might have mentioned earlier, that's what we call marriage and communication skills of what we learned from our parents, what they did or didn't do, or how well they did do it, often the latter. And then there's 2 sets of parents. So they have 2 different childhoods, 2 different sets of parents, often culturally 2 vastly different sets of parents. And we're trying to struggle to find a way to make a relationship work. The census, the U.S. Census distinguishes that 50% of first marriages fail. And 60% of second marriages fail. And only now they have children. So the really key is to learn how to communicate with mutual honor and respect. And that's what I do.
Got it. Well, that's a lot of it too. I want to ask you about that. Is there a commonality that you see over the years with people, with trust, with communication? And you mentioned in these 90-minute sessions, you could really help someone change for the better. So I know you don't want to give away all your techniques and keys.
I would be happily to share my top techniques right here, right now.
Thank you.
The answer to your question is that the commonalities. Most people react, they do not respond. You say something to your spouse, they react. They say something to you, you react. You talk to your parents, customers, clients, and your children. We all tend to react to one another, but reaction is certainly appropriate when a light turns red. Stop. There are a number of instances where thinking about it puts our life in danger. So
Mm-hmm.
see a red light, stop. See a brake light, stop. However, in human relationships, we are obliged to pause, reflect, and choose.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us tend to react. So how do we go from reacting to responding? Here's the big tool that we start off with every single time. And there's two words, yes and. Yes, and tell me more. Yes, and when's a good time for us to talk? Yes, and how would this affect our finances, our family, our children, our business? In this case, the yes indicates that I've heard you, always a good thing, and provides us the time to choose what's our next relationship. Yes, and. A yes and an opens up reliably lines of communication.
Mm.
And so basically, you get used to starting your sentences with yes. You really can't go wrong with a yes. How about scrambled eggs for breakfast? Yes. How about we go to the movies? Yes. How about we try something we've never tried before? Yes. And what movie would you like to see? Yes is a great start to any communication. The other commonality is that most people speak declaratively. In fact, I'm doing it right now, as if everything that's coming out of my mouth is the truth. We do it, we all do it. However, we get to be responsible for that when I speak to you, like right now, your mind is going to good or bad, right or wrong, agree or disagree. And if I should say something to you that does not match what you believe, intend, or remember, we will stop listening, we will stop communicating and start arguing about whose reality is the most real, whose truth is the truest, and who's right and who's wrong. And in those moments, communication fails utterly. So how do we solve that? Well, our next best friend after yeses and ands is the word seems. Seems to me we avoid talking about. Seems to me we bring the past over and over again. A seems helps us bypass the truth app that is always running. A seems will get you a yes and let's talk about it, where a truth will get you a no, a but, and an argument. It's really as uncomplicated as that. After that, we can design, literally we can design our relationship. Yes. When's the best time for us to talk? Yes. Yes is almost like putting in the clutch, disengaging the engine from my mouth so I can stop, pause, reflect, and then choose what direction I want to go in. And that's really that's where we start. I have tons and tons of tools. Um,
Beautiful.
any other questions? I have lots of answers.
I'm sure you do. Well, for example, when you're saying use the word yes, yes, I'll go to the movies. Yes, and you keep saying yes, but even if you really don't want to go to the movies, you should start with yes. Is that what I'm getting from this?
Yes, yes, and let's pick another movie. Yes, and let's do something else tonight.
Ah, yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm going to use some of your techniques.
Yes, yes leaves your hands on the steering wheel of your life, which is the only one you have.
Ah, okay.
I
Well,
mean, if someone's even unkind, you're a total waste of space, says someone. You say yes, and let's move on.
I love this. I've never heard this, and I believe this. There's a reason why nothing's ever worked for me or for people I know. Okay, I'm going to start with the
I
yeses.
guarantee you, when you talk to like you have a teenager, and teenagers want what they want. In fact, at my age, I still want what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And the teenager says, I want this really expensive item. And you say, yes, I'm listening. We avoid reacting to our teenagers so they get to be heard, and we as parents get the information we need to appropriately respond to their request.
Beautiful.
Yes, I'm listening. And you may find out that the thing that they want isn't what they really want, it's about their relationships.
Mm-hmm.
When you avoid reacting to our children, we actually get the information we need as parents. Yes. Imagine you're a professional, you're a real estate agent, and your couples want a very expensive house and a very inexpensive house in a very expensive neighborhood. And of course, as a professional real estate agent, you know that's not going to work. So what do? You say, yes, let's look at all the options, run all the numbers, and you will choose the option that is best for your family. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes keeps you customers. No's and buts don't. Whether it's selling
Mm-hmm.
a car or a piece of real estate or advising a patient in a hospital. Yes, let's look at all the options and we'll see the one that's best for your family member. Yes.
I love this. I have a new word in my vocabulary, and it's going to be yes. And I have a 6 and 8-year-old, and I will use this approach with them as well because as a parent, you're right. I tend to overreact and
Well,
puts,
had a friend who had a 13-year-old who one day declares that he wants to have a girlfriend. And mom starts to freak out. I said, why don't you ask a 13-year-old what they mean by a
Mhm.
girlfriend? And you'll get a 13-year-old answer. You don't have to jump to gatekeeper and curfews and all the other stuff that we see on TV. It's also my vision for the future that two 15-year-olds or 16-year-olds have these tools, yes, ands, and seems, because they're confronted. They want to be in love, they want to be popular, they want to be cool, they want to be accepted, and their body is saying something very differently than that. And their best friend comes up with a particularly poor idea, which is almost inevitable because they have intelligence and they don't have judgment. Without judgment, they can put themselves in a world of danger. So my vision is that a 15-year-old says, let's do this really exciting thing. It'll be lots of fun. Let's go. And your daughter or son says, yes. And let's look at the details and see if it works out. Or,
Hmm.
yes, I'd rather not do that today. With a yes and an and, they're safer.
Okay.
You know, they can still be cool and accepted and popular, but they
Hmm.
have the word yes to keep them safe.
Interesting.
Um, the other area in life which we'll look at is your love languages, because Gary Chapman, in his
Yes.
book, exactly,
I've
yes.
only learned about this recently. Tell me more because yes, I need to hear more about love languages. Is it true? There's 5 of them and we all
There's
fit into
five.
some category. Do you have to
All
be with the
couples,
same person that's the same, or you have to just know what they like and then love them the way
oh
they
no,
need to be loved? That's where I get confused.
people feel loved in slightly different ways.
Yes.
Gifts, quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation, and physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Chapman talks about everybody has all five love languages. However, they don't always occur in the same order. For
Okay.
some people, physical touch is important.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, it's not.
Okay.
For example, some people give them a gift. They go, "Oh, thank you. You noticed I've been looking at this for weeks. Thank you." And they feel loved. But if you give me
Mm-hmm.
a gift, it's kind of awkward. Why? Because I tend to go to Amazon first.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if you expect me to feel loved by a gift the way you feel loved by a gift, it's a mistake.
Yeah.
However, physical touch is my major love language. You'll take a quiz at fivelovelanguages.com. And my wife takes a quiz at fivelovelanguages.com. And I understand that I like quality time. I like to be words of affirmation, to be appreciated. But her big one is acts of service. She is a principal. She was a teacher. She's still a teacher. She
Mm-hmm.
loves serving people. She gets an enormous amount of life satisfaction from acts of service.
Yep.
So when I help her, she feels loved. I mean, she'll say, let's change the sheets. And I could say, I'm not in the mood for it. Well, there's a double whammy here because I don't get to leave her feeling cared for, and we don't have quality time together. And some people really like physical touch, which some people confuse with sexuality, it isn't. It's really, really getting adept at hugging. Hugging is very important. And then there's people who like to be appreciated. And one of the first things I point out to the couples is that people have forgotten to say you're welcome. When I grew up, people said, thank you, you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome is an opportunity to connect, to feel appreciated, and to appreciate, to feel loved and gratitude.
Yeah.
And all too often these days we hear, no problem, I'm good, think nothing of it. So essentially, when you say thank you, it's an invitation to connect. When you say, no problem, I'm good, there's no connection. So in the first session, I remind them to thank you, and appreciate each other. And the minute they start appreciating each other, they
Mm-hmm.
light up. The whole energy of the room shifts. And occasionally I've run into couples that they've never really appreciated one another.
Mm-hmm.
It's a delicious moment, right about 2/3 into the session when they say, "Thank you. I appreciate you for being a great dad. I appreciate for you this." Loves and appreciation. So that's the 5 love languages. We all got them, but they're very different from one person to the next. And when you know
Mm-hmm.
that, you can dance with the person you're with.
Mm-hmm.
Because we create a dashboard for marriage: skills, insights, and best practices. The S ends in seams, skills, insights, love languages, and personality types, which I haven't yet mentioned, and then literally creating a board where you can write everything important to your life, and you don't forget each other. My spouse has said, "I thought I told you this last week. Don't you remember anything I say?" And I go, "Oops." But now that you have a board, literally a blotter calendar, that everything that you said you wanted to do is on it,
Mm-hmm.
life dances. And I'll mention personality types if we have time for it in this particular call. Do we?
Well, we got 3 minutes left.
Oh, in that
Sorry.
case, there's
Go.
another video which you and I will create in the coming
Perfect.
weeks, and I'll add a whole lot of more depth. But basically, when you learn to dance with the person you're with, life comes happy. And the last thing I'll mention is that infidelity is a symptom, it's not a cause.
Mm-hmm.
The proper question to ask is, what is a cause of? And often it's a misconnection in love languages. You think they're loving you, but they're in the wrong love language. Maybe we'll continue on this thread maybe next time.
Perfect.
I
Sounds like
invite
a
people.
plan.
This is Paul Zoha, Marriage and Communication Coaching, Tucson, Arizona. Sessions are available by Zoom. I've helped people in
Mm-hmm.
Austria, in Canada, Florida, and Ohio. So we can do this virtually if you'd like, if you need to. Call me
Perfect. Thank you. And tell us how we can call you.
at 520-297-3085 or directly through the contact icon on the website, Marriage and Communication Coaching.
Perfect.
Communication and love is easy once you know how.
Beautiful. Thank you, Paul, so much for being here today and looking forward to the next time we connect. Thank you for this insight. Yes,
You're
Paul.
very welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Paul. I'm learning.
Yes,
Thank you
yes,
so
Anne.
much. You have a fantastic day. And to all of our
Thank you
listeners
very
and
much.
viewers, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.